Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello, my name is Nabila Naili. So in this video, I will practice a shadowing technique with the video from VOA News entitled "China aims high on growth, but challenges loom." So let's get started.
At China's biggest annual political gathering, a display of confidence despite growing economic challenges.
At China's biggest annual political gathering, a display of confidence despite growing challenges.
Premier Li Chang set this year's growth target at around 5%, one of the world's fastest.
Premier Li Cheng set this year's growth target at around 5%, one of the world's fastest.
This target is backed by economic growth potential and favorable conditions.
This target is backed by economic growth potential and favorable conditions.
But beneath the optimism, China faces big challenges.
But beneath the optimism, China faced big challenges.
A prolonged real estate crisis has left home prices falling and buildings empty.
A prolonged real estate crisis has left home prices falling and buildings empty.
And now, new U.S. tariffs are hitting China's exports, adding more strain.
And now, new US tariffs are hitting China's exports, adding more strain.
U.S. President Donald Trump has doubled tariffs on China compared to his first term.
US President Donald Trump has doubled tariff on China compared to his first term.
At an address Tuesday night to Congress, he showed no sign of backing down.
At an address Tuesday night to Congress, he showed no sign of backing down.
Other countries have used tariffs against us for decades, and now it's our turn to start using them against those other countries.
Other countries have used tariffs against us for decades, and now it's our turn to start using them against those other countries.
This week, China imposed its own tariffs on U.S. farm goods, what analysts called the response restraint.
This week, China imposed its own tariffs on U.S. farm goods, but analysts call the response restraint.
Whereas Trump's tariffs were across the board, the People's Republic of China's were much more selective.
Whereas Trump's tariffs were across the board, the People's of Republic of China were much more selective and directed.
And directed at specific industries and activities.
Directed at specific industries and activities.
Specific products.
To withstand tariffs,
Specific products.
China has tried to prioritize sluggish domestic consumption.
To withstand tariffs, China has tried to prioritize sluggish domestic consumption.
But its economy is still vulnerable.
But its economy is still vulnerable.
But there is still overproduction in China, so exports are still needed by a lot of companies. So it's going to, I think the tariffs imposed by the Trump administration is going to have an impact.
How?
There is still overproduction in China, so exports are still needed by a lot of companies. So I think the tariffs imposed by Trump's administration is going to have an impact.
How well Beijing navigates these challenges will determine whether its confidence matches reality.
How well Beijing navigates these challenges will determine whether its confidence matches reality.
Bilgalo VOA News, Seoul, South Korea.
Bilgalo VOA News, Seoul, South Korea. So that is all for the English news. So in this video, I will do a shadowing technique with Indonesian news from kompas.com. Judul, kenal lebih dekat tarik kibas rambut Al-Aya yang sambut Trump di UEA. So let's get started.
Kedatangan Presiden Amerika Serikat Donald Trump di Uni Emirat Arab pada Kamis 15 Mei 2025 disambut tarian yang menyedot perhatian. Tarian tersebut
Kedatangan Presiden Amerika Serikat Donald Trump di Uni Emirat Arab pada Kamis 15 Mei disambut tarian yang menyedot perhatian.
Tarian tersebut memperlihatkan sekelompok perempuan yang mengenakan gaun berwarna putih dan mengibaskan rambut panjang mereka dari sisi ke sisi secara terus-menerus.
Tarian tersebut memperlihatkan sekelompok perempuan yang menggunakan gaun berwarna putih dan mengibaskan rambut panjang mereka dari sisi ke sisi secara terus-menerus.
Tarian ini dilakukan tepat saat Trump berjalan bersama Presiden UEA Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan.
Tarian ini dilakukan tepat saat Trump berjalan bersama Presiden UEA Sheikh Muhammad bin Zayed Al Nahyan.
Pertunjukan tarian tersebut dikenal sebagai Al-Ayala yang merupakan tarian budaya tradisional Uni Emirat Arab. Lantas, seperti apa
Pertunjukan tarian tersebut dikenal sebagai Al-Ayala yang merupakan tarian budaya Emirat Arab.
Lantas, seperti apa sebenarnya tarian Al-Ayala ini?
Lantas, seperti apa sebenarnya tarian Al-Ayala ini?
Tarian Al-Ayala sendiri telah diakui oleh UNESCO sebagai warisan budaya tak benda kemanusiaan.
Tarian Al-Ayala ini setelah diakui oleh UNESCO sebagai warisan kemanusiaan tak cuma
di Uni Emirat Arab, tari Al-Ayala kabarnya juga populer di sebagian Oman.
Tak cuma di Uni Emirat Arab, tari Al-Ayala juga populer di sebagian wilayah Oman.
Kesenian ini melibatkan puisi yang dinyanyikan, musik, dan tabuhan drum.
Kesenian ini melibatkan puisi yang dinyanyikan, musik, dan tabuhan drum.
Tarian ini biasanya dilakukan oleh pria dalam dua baris yang saling berhadapan sambil memegang tongkat atau pedang.
Tarian ini biasanya dilakukan oleh pria dalam dua baris sambil berhadapan memegang tongkat atau pedang.
Sedangkan perempuan ditempatkan di baris depan sambil mengibaskan rambut panjang mereka yang menambah keanggunan secara visual.
Sedangkan perempuan ditempatkan di barisan depan sambil mengibaskan rambut mereka untuk menambah keanggunan secara visual.
Al-Ayla sendiri biasanya dipentaskan selama pernikahan dan acara-acara perayaan lainnya di Kesultanan Oman dan UEA.
Al-Ayala sendiri biasanya dipentaskan selama pernikahan dan acara-acara perayaan lainnya di Kesultanan Oman dan UEA. So, that is all for me. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.